I don't know how truth this is, but word on the street, on the literary streets, on the etymological streets.
Oh, those are good
streets. It's on Etymology Avenue and literacy corner.
So it's literally right there.
It's literally right there. Is that it was skull because it's the same word from skull in the old old Norse language. And you used to drink
Nordic.
from the skull of your enemies. It sounds way too metal to be true, but I hope it is.
Oh, it's way too metal to be true. That's awesome right there. What's way too metal to be true? The current situation is pretty metal.
It is pretty metal. But what are you gonna do when you've been quarantined, when the world's burning around you?
Are we quarantined? I feel like we should be full quarantine
We
mode.
probably should.
The
island, I don't know if you've seen the Stray.
No, let's not quarantine the island until I get to the other side, boys.
But the one thing to do before we are actually cattled.
Yes. Cattled.
We're not being chips, being cattled.
No.
Is sit down, watch some movies.
Yeah.
And talk about some movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like go to the Winchester and wait for all of this to blow over, but in this case, the Winchester's your goddamn television.
Exactly.
And with your homies, you get to watch movies. With your family. Like, you're bunkered down, you get to watch movies. It's like, takes your goddamn mind off of everything that's going on. That's fun.
Watch movies that take you to a simpler, better time when life wasn't complicated. Like, when the U.S. was in Vietnam and hippies roamed the streets of Los Angeles and you could buy acid-dipped cigarettes for 50 cents a pop.
50 cents! And girls were you were driving and they would just offer you blowjobs.
Exactly.
Of course we're talking about a Tarantino film.
On your way to the cult hangout.
Yes, very cultish those days. Yeah. The Manson family and what have you.
Yes.
So we're talking. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Jackie Brown. Tarantino's.
No, that's not the name. I was like, is that what we just watched? Am I that dumb? No, we just
Once Upon a Time
in Hollywood.
Did you say Hollywood?
Yeah, it's. I felt like I didn't want to do that series overlap where BoJack Horseman overlapped with this. Yeah, I wanted to contain it.
Right.
You gotta contain it. Quarantine it.
Quarantine. So in 40 days we can say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Maybe. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how
it might mutate. So then.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Then we can be like, okay.
I have nothing for that.
I have no idea what I'm saying anyways.
So we watched movie.
Oh, fuck.
That's a great movie.
Tarantino makes me feel things when he makes movies. It's crazy, right?
So does he make you feel things... Because I think there's two ways in which you can feel things about movies when you're a filmmaker.
First of all, his films are visceral. So in that way, at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I think there's the things that you feel as an audience member, and the things that you feel as a filmmaker.
Dude, no, totally you're a person that's breathing and your heart's beating, right?
Okay. As opposed to
his films are so great and primal, for example, I mean, let's get right into it. The scenes where, I know the dog brutality with Tarantino. What's it with the dog brutality in Tarantino? In Django Unchained, they had, these really crazy shots of, those dogs fucking people up. And he went harder, I think, on this one.
It's no, this one's savage.
What a thing to bring back.
I don't know if it's
damn Tarantino.
If in his head he's just like, fuck, you know what will really fuck you up?
Yeah.
A dog.
Yeah.
Or he's like, man, I'm really scared of dogs. Dogs can really fuck you up, you know?
Well, he doesn't shy away from the brutality, in his films. No. That's and he, almost overdoes it. In Kill Bill, he voluntarily overdoes it, which is really cool.
I mean, you could argue Inglourious Basterds also.
Yeah, everything's on the upper echelon of crazy murderiness.
But see, in this one, the violence is it's used very sparingly.
Yeah.
To just kind of...
There's just one scene, but everything just goes ham immediately.
And it's such a contrast from nothing was really crazy or it was a very, very down to earth, very just pleasant movie. There's moments of tension,
that's what's so cool about Tarantino, right? Is the pleasant parts of his movies, it's freaking hilarious. The writing is clever, funny, you laugh, lighthearted at many moments. You're like, whoa, look at that beautiful love right there. They look like look at that, their friendship. Oh, friendship. And then he just murders a bunch of people with a dog and and then a flamethrower. Yeah. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Fuck. We gotta start saying spoilers. now's a good time to talk about it. There's
it's
always going to be spoilers, cause
true, because I mean, well, we're talking about movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this came out a while back, so people, and it's Tarantino, so people
you've had time. So at this point, we kind of figured.
But what we're gonna be doing from now on, is announce the movie that we're gonna be watching.
Yeah.
On the episode that we're recording, so that the next week people are prepared, they've seen the movie, and we can just jump right in.
So you're gonna have everyone's gonna have like a bunch of time at home, and then they can like chill and watch the movie with your family. You know, you have time. So now in this case, then
just bring the children to watch the Tarantino movie.
Yeah, and then you can watch the podcast, not have any spoilers, and it's just like it's good to watch films these days. You get to shut your brain off for like a little bit.
Coming from the director that I don't watch movies, I make them.
I'm not making too many these days.
That's true.
We gotta buckle down.
I mean, you can do a one-man show kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
we got stuff in the works though.
Oh, 100%.
It's fun.
So back to Tarantino.
It's
I think it's very hard to talk about a movie without going into spoilers. So
because you get so excited about it. You're like,
that because like we see the whole movie
right
now.
I think I see where you're going.
I like to think like if we're having a conversation about themes, for example, if we're having a conversation about the filmmaking itself, the writing and stuff.
We were talking about juxtaposition before,
right? Like you draw on it throughout the film, and eventually you're going to get to the point where you reach spoilers for that, right?
And if you really want to like have those conversations in depth with like what those concepts are, how they work and stuff, you got to be able to like spoil them,
right?
And so there's going to be spoilers.
And the thing too is like I think that the podcast is we were talking about these earlier. Like podcasting is punk rock, and you're kind of just jamming, and it organically happens, right? So. These podcasts, we're trying to still figure out what's going on, what we're going to be talking about, but at the same time, I think we're leaning hard, because of our background and expertise, on analysis of the movies, analysis on the filmmaking, and relating that to filmmakers and outside the movie, but still in this world of making movies. We're not a review podcast, right?
No, we're like a thinking it through podcast,
exactly.
Which is really cool.
So,
it is punk rock. I dig it.
Yeah, right on, right?
I like what you said about the punk rock.
I stole that from someone.
I know. But stealing is punk rock, so I mean, fucking good move, buddy.
He'd be proud. I stole it from Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
himself.
There you go.
The podcaster extraordinaire.
Oh, yeah.
OG.
Dude, he is one of those OGs, eh?
He's one, really he's been doing it for I think about 15 years, podcasting. Dope. And fun fact, the first... Factoid. The first podcaster
numero uno
in a movie that was the main character in a feature film that was a podcaster.
It was fucking Kevin Smith, I bet.
No, it was Justin Long, the Mac Kid, you know? The Mac Kid, Justin Long, he was in Accepted, he's in Dodgeball. Remember Dodgeball?
I'm bad with, I know I have no memory.
Well, the movie is Tusk, Kevin Smith.
Yes.
By Kevin Smith, the main character's a podcaster. Okay. He comes to Canada. Gets kidnapped by a guy that's obsessed with walruses. It's an awesome.
Do you say walrus? I think you say walrus.
Walrus.
Walrus. It's walrus. Yeah. A wild pack of walrus.
That's where
a wild pack of walrus appears. That needs to be on a post-it somewhere.
He was trampled by a pack of walrus.
Unbeknownst to himself. He was trampled.
He had never seen a walrus, but today he saw the walrus.
Took him on a hell of a wall ride. What are we even on about?
Alright, let's circle round back to Tarantino and how this is not a review of the film.
No, it's not even remotely. We're just
talking.
We're just saying dumb shit with beer.
We gotta
and hanging out. This is way more fun than a review.
But to tie it back down to there's a lot of things. Like, I mean, there was. Let's talk about cinematography, right?
Yo.
Because every other shot you were like, oh, gorgeous shot. Oh,
why is everything so beautiful?
But
everything's beautiful. Yeah. It's like the everything, the shots. We were talking about the set design. So that one shot that really blew me away was the Hollywood Boulevard shot, and you have like all the old timely cars, and they're all like goddamn beautiful muscle cars, like perfect shape. It It was like the most beautiful possible Hollywood. It was freaking gorgeous. And then, yeah, the shots were super... Like, what was your favorite shot? I'm sure you had a favorite shot. But that wasn't my favorite shot. But that was like the art design was just so on point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite shot. I wasn't really thinking about that when I was watching it, but the shots where we're seeing people drive, and we're not seeing their faces. It's not traditionally
we're from behind their head.
Traditionally you would put the camera either in the car to the side or like on the trunk. Like there's a way to properly
do it. You could. Oh no! Wait, it's from behind. You'd have to be facing that way.
Yeah. Oh, the shot where it opens?
And then there's like the wind when they're driving.
Oh, yeah, true.
It's like shot from behind and the wind is in the hair and it's like really intense.
And you really see, exactly, that's the intensity of that shot, right? It's like you see them driving down these winding roads in Hollywood with the mullets flapping against the wind and you feel... I mean, you're there for the ride, but it's like when you're with an aggressive, when you're with an aggressive driver and you feel like, holy shit, this is fucking intense, and you're like, well, maybe this is how I die.
The camera's shaking.
Like every time in the car with you, it's like, this is it.
It's funny because what's cool about the shot. Well, first of all, there's so many goddamn things cool about that shot. So it's really an homage, right? Because then he shows like an Italian film and they have this like car chase scene in the Italian film and it's that same angle is used there. So Tarantino, like almost all of his films are homages. Right. That guy's like a filmmaking history buff. Like he knows 100%. All the movies and he analyzes them and that's what made... Because, he worked in a video store, right? For the longest of times. So Tarantino did an homage to this, like probably not the specific Italian film, but at least the Italian genre. And then... like race car genre, and then he does the same shot, and it's like what's cool about it is just the shaking, for example. Like it works so well, it's so visceral because a lot of people would just be like stabilize the shaking. It's an imperfect film. You gotta stabilize it, which would be the dumb decision, I think.
Especially back then, because like what would you be shooting in back then, right? You'd have like your big ass like rigs, your cranes. To follow the cars, or like, and you would want it...
Dude, you would literally probably just drill in something to hold the camera, and that's it, and it would be right on the metal, bouncing.
We get,
like...
When shooting a car, there's a couple of shots, right? Like, we've obviously got our outside shots, they're mostly like on ground level.
Yeah.
That's like, you would be watching these cars pass by.
Yeah, because that's where you're used to seeing it, so it's like perspective.
Exactly.
Level.
And it puts you on the streets while the cars are like rushing by. It pops up the...
you feel it.
Exactly. Like, hey,
the sounds are the same.
We're giving film advice here.
Is that where we are? Yeah. Wait, film advice. Are we recording? Let me just double check. That would have been disastrous.
Film advice number 1. Make sure you're always recording.
Oh, fuck. I think the lens cap was on, though.
Oh, fuck. No.
My bad. Sorry, what were we saying?
Let me take care of that.
Yeah. Oh. Could you imagine there wasn't... And now, blow it away. Blow it away. It's gone. Just like that.
Magic.
That was crazy.
Setting fire.
What were we talking about?
So, no. The how to construct a car chase. Not it, but the kind of shots that are used, right? Yeah. So you get your level shot, like you're there on the ground, you're seeing cars pass and they're like this close, right? You have the from inside the car. Yeah. So he focused on, we have the steering wheel, like a
you see
a close up of the steering wheel.
You see how firm his hands are.
Yeah, and like the tension of like fucking driving in these circumstances. Then you've got the pedals because you want to show them like shifting the gears.
Yeah, it's important.
Skirts. And then there's one that's from the passenger's kind of point of view, but like lower from like where the passenger's would be.
Like a higher up, and he's like, oh god.
Yeah, so you see the stick, you see the wheel under drive. Like the hands on the wheel.
Yeah. Were you the guy who directed that movie with all the race, the driving and the Fast and Furious? Was that you?
Oh yeah, that was. Of course. Conversation. Like, yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
No, came up.
The 19th one. That was me. Yeah.
The 19th.
Maybe. Fano Belmont. You heard it here first. Slated for Fast and Furious 19.
Fuck yeah. Still gonna be casting The Rock. My man, Dwayne Johnson. God damn, these cars are too fast. It's like, it's too fast and too furious.
Back in my day.
It's gonna be called Slow and Chill.
Fast and Furious 19, Born to be Mild.
just gonna be like in a suburban town. It's gonna be like in the South Shore. It's gonna be
Hold
like,
back, Kane.
hey, hoodlums, slow down!
That's
Just like an old man in a car.
Yeah.
Just, they're going 20. Just fucking like. Hey.
Anyways, The Rock still at it. Hopefully, by the time we get to 19,
That man's gonna fucking outlive us all.
he's always gonna be rocking.
Fuck yeah. That's why it says in his name.
That's right.
Dwayne The Rock, always rocking Johnson.
That's right. That's right.
So
That's
without going
the thing
into
about names.
many tangents.
Yeah, too many tangents.
So the dialogue, the characters. You mentioned something that was very, very interesting.
I'm
How
curious.
the relationship between two men was treated in this movie.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, man. It's like, hey, here's a pretty goddamn wholesome relationship between two dudes. You know, they're looking out for each other, and it's like, you know, I think we keep ragging on dudes a lot, and like, I think it was cool, and for reasons, because you know, a lot of dudes are dum dums, you know, but a lot of them are freaking, you know, it's complicated, but. What am I saying?
The scale from dumb to complicated.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum, and at
Exactly.
the other end of the spectrum, there's how Tarantino writes the characters, right?
Yeah.
And it's a weird.
Tarantino writes his characters on the spectrum, is what I was trying to say. They're all a little. No.
a little
know what I'm
quirky. But we have essentially we've got Brad Pitt and Leo. Mm-hmm. And the relationship, they at some point it's described. The narrator says it's more than a friend, less than a wife.
Oh, I love that freaking line. So
Right?
cool.
So, and I
Yeah.
think we rarely see. We sometimes see these kind of relationships, but they're usually like in comedy, right? We've got the bromance.
Yeah, the bromance is
And
usually the way it's done.
but it's very comedic. It's sometimes the comedy is derived from like the non-sexual but sexual tension, that is between two men that are like really
funny.
close, and
Because it is funny, because it's like anyone who grew up like dudes, man, who had like good relationships with guys, it would be like literally like, oh wait, we're fucking close right now. Hey, that's not gay, you know? It's like, what the fuck? Why do we
I love you, bro. No homo.
Yeah, no,
but I love you.
It's like, it's so goddamn silly. It's hilarious, and it's like, it's not hatred against homos, for fuck's sakes. It's just like, you're not gay, you know? It's like, I'm not gay.
You're like,
No matter what. Got nothing against it. It's just for me. Like, I don't want to, you know, don't want you to have any ideas. Maybe you are. I don't, you know. Fano.
that whole thing like, I got nothing about the gays, but I want to point down to me, you know, that's it. No, but the way these relationship is treated, because it goes like they're friends, they used to work together, but they're real bros, you know?
Yeah,
and bros in a way that is
they watch out for each other. He's like, hey, I'm gonna head out today. Like, in his mind, he's like, you've went through a lot of shit today. You sure you don't want me to hang out for like another 5-10 minutes? Make sure you're cool. Yeah. It's like wholesome AF. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't see that
No.
often. And I think it's one of those Tarantino things that he can walk the line with like how you portray something, that it's like it's done
tricky.
very well.
Yeah.
It's and not specifically about this, but like talking about Tarantino's writing and how he like threads and walks that line.
Yeah.
He threads the needle.
He walks a couple of lines, this guy.
So it's because it's kind of something that he's very violent.
Yeah.
He's a fucking weirdo.
self-admitted pervert. He's like, yeah, I like feet. You want some feet? Here's some goddamn feet.
And
like, whoa, jeez, Tarantino, keep it in there.
Well, I mean, so many dirty feet. These movies,
Yeah.
straight up. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those movies that like
Those films
you're
are
like
intense, man. I love it.
With grandma probably, and she's like, yeah, I'm down to watch a Tarantino movie.
Don't watch Tarantino with grandma.
My
Every
mom
time.
loves Tarantino, for example.
Dude, I love Tarantino, but every time I like watch a Tarantino film, I'm like, oh wait, it's true. I'm like a little fucked up after I watch a Tarantino film. Like
In what
Django, for
sense?
example, was like really heavy, right?
Well, yeah, but Django. I mean,
Like all the goddamn like, I don't know, it's intense. It's like it brings in all these racial issues, and now this film, for example, is like this was done in like the thick of the whole Me Too movement, and it's like you can feel those undertones. Like it's a very it's an intense film, man. All of Tarantino's films are great because they're so goddamn intense.
That's the very interesting thing you bring out, because when we're starting it, and you start pointing things out about the Me Too, it's something that I never. The first time I saw it, this was the second time that I saw it. I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
which was fucking awesome with the sound
I
and all
bet.
that shit.
The sound design in this film is just
So
phenomenal.
But I will get to that later.
We don't even
and
need
the
to.
Me Too thing, like interpretation, wasn't like it was never there. I never.
You didn't pick up on
I
anything.
never like. I don't say even pick up because, I mean, see, like, if you see a piece of art or film or whatever, right? Any piece of art.
Yeah.
And you as an audience member or spectator, whatever you want to call yourself, you read something from it or you perceive something from it. I think it's 100% valid. Like,
dude, that's
100%.
That's one of the coolest things about art is that literally, like, you have certain things that you've been like paying attention to or whatever. Like, it'll evoke certain things,
right?
And then in your case, it evokes certain other things.
Exactly.
And that's what's so cool about art.
Well, and
films like that.
And for me, it didn't like. There's not that. I mean, I hear your points about it, and I'm like, okay, I understand how it could be like interpreted and thought about it that way.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't that. I really didn't like.
It wasn't the main focus of the film at all. That's not even remotely what I think. Like, I think it was just there was a lot of undertones. Because if you look at like I told you that story about who was it again? Who
It's
was in the car?
I checked it actually.
So what are the details?
So the
I'm
details,
curious.
I don't have all the details.
I don't remember
but,
them very well.
Way back when they were doing Kill Bill,
Yeah.
either one of the Kill Bills, Uma Thurman was driving a car.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was, I don't know the circumstance around it.
Yeah.
So Tarantino had her drive the car. They got in a car accident, and it was a very relatively simple drive.
Yeah.
Because it was just like you're in
Drive
this
on-
like
it was
New
dirt
Mexico.
road, it's just like drive on dirt road,
Yeah, it's
straight
like
line.
you're not even going that fast.
Yeah.
I don't know how or what happened that caused
she
like an
crashed the
accident.
car.
She crashed the car.
Yeah.
She got hurt. The thing
Yeah.
though was that
But-
the stunt coordinator wasn't consulted on that shot. They were not scheduled to be there during that day because
but
they were like.
Tarantino got brought up in this whole Me Too thing, not about because eventually it kind of moved into like, well, males who are in power and who are assholes.
Let me finish the
and who
story
like to,
before
like, go
we go into that because I think it's important to consider.
Yeah.
The stunt coordinator said, like, you know what, like, you had somebody driving, we would have insisted that it wasn't the actor, that it was a stunt person, because of legal insurance
course.
shit and all that stuff.
Because of logical reasons.
And Tarantino's, I don't know if it was his defense, I don't want to, like, put it in that sense, but at some point it was said, like, well, for the director, it was just driving.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It was
a
just a
high-speed thing. I think they were
basic
going like 40 miles per hour, like something like that. For him, it's like, hey, you know what? You drive this car down this road, we get our coverage.
You drove
that's
to
it.
get here. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, drive the car.
And like that makes perfect sense.
It wasn't
to me.
Tarantino at his biggest like he was still proving himself. I think maybe at that time.
Kill
Do you think
Bill?
or no? He proved himself
blew up
immediately.
with,
Yeah, you're right.
I think that with Pulp Fiction, like after Pulp Fiction, he was just
could do
like,
anything.
fuck it, that's it.
Yeah. That's what's nuts about Tarantino, man. That guy can do anything. But
So eventually, like the defense of the stunt coordinators were like, well, we were not there. We're not scheduled there because of the risks of accident and all this shit. It's operating a heavy machinery. We would insist, like the regulations of whatever fucking guild they got going on, insist that it's like a stunt person has to do it, and you gotta pay your stunt person, and you gotta do all this shit. And for Tarantino, it was just like, fuck it, we're driving down a road.
Man.
I don't.
It sounds like it's one of those like gray zones and like interesting.
Exactly.
Like let's talk about it and it makes sense for sure too. But like, yeah, he ended up getting like a lot of flack for that whole situation, which was like, what's annoying I think is it's dug up information. Like it's really old stuff. Like it was apparently
100%.
settled and like apparently all the parties were satisfied and they walked away and Uma.
I mean,
wait, it was Uma Thurman, right?
Yeah, it was Uma Thurman. I mean,
did she play more stuff after?
Yeah,
Exactly, right? So it's like but he got dragged into basically the Me Too movement. Kind of eventually got to attacking or seeking out issues with people who, for example, don't have like that are like. I don't know, like unsafe practices, for example, and then it kind of maybe became like, you know, they're really mean. Like there was a lot of cases like that in Quebec, and like I don't know, I feel like he had that like really
like the line between like what was
'Cause
actually
he got dragged
harmful and
out for it.
inappropriate bullshit,
Exactly, yeah.
and like somebody was just being mean and
or for example, like if you're playing with an actor, like for example with Jonathan, if I want to get him angry because I know I can go there with him and I know that he'll want like that's part of our
well, if Jonathan wants to
process.
you need to get Jonathan angry. Just remind him about the latest Kino screening.
Yeah, a certain film, I think.
Yeah. I've never seen him like that.
It was like
A tangent. That's a fucking tangent. Finisher. So you want to get your actor angry as a director. You want to get your actor angry. You want them to get into, because it's emotions that we see in film, right? Like drama storytelling. Like it's conflict. We want to put the characters in this conflict. And as a writer, you don't really think that much about like, the complications of getting this person on that emotional level or under this kind of pressure, duress. You're just like, the character they fucking just kill their puppy, right? And you're like, fuck it, it's just a character. And then you have to deal, as a director, you have to deal with a person who's like, this motherfucker just killed your dog, right? Yeah. Like, how are you gonna respond?
Come on, dog.
And then you have to help the actor
go there,
reach that, exactly. Yeah. So
it's such a hard process. So it's like, so it's like you kind of have to, it's part of the chaotic process, but if people are like consensual about it, it's the best thing in the fucking world. Like literally, like no, but for example, like as a director, what I mean is like, man, being able to direct Jonathan into like, I need you to be like in this state of mind in this time, like for this scene, like being able to like both of us go there is like, it's awesome. There's like a trust thing.
What is
nuts?
Well, I mean, trust is a huge thing, I think, because you're working with people.
And it sounds like with the driving thing, there was trust there, because like you're literally driving down a road, accidents happen, dumb decision.
I think it's a thing that, like, by that point, Uma Thurman and Quentin Tarantino had worked together so much, like, it's very widely accepted that it's like, it's like his muse or whatever, like, I don't know what the relationship is like at this point, because we haven't seen her in his movies for a while. Actually, I don't think I've seen Uma Thurman in something for a while now.
I don't know.
But at that point, there had to be that trust, and there had to be that friendship, and there had to be this creative relationship.
Yeah.
So 100%, like the director that you trust and that you work with in several movies tells you, like, you're just driving down this road at 40 miles an hour.
But it's true, when you're in the big leagues, man, I think like you shouldn't be doing that. Like you should, I think, that gray zone is, dude, you're Quentin Tarantino, you're in the big leagues. You need to make sure everyone's safe, everyone's well paid, well compensated.
But at the same time, I do agree, because, and it's this fucking red tape of big movies, right?
It's got to be insanely tricky.
But at the same time, like, think of where he started.
Yeah, of course, you're used to that. Like, you just don't think about it. It's normal. Yeah.
Tarantino had a script that he submitted to a festival. I think it was Sundance. He submitted this script. I might be wrong about that.
The small festival called Sundance,
yeah, it's this casual little thing.
Real cash.
And it was accepted to it. It won a certain thing, and it was like the winning scripts. There was a series of them would get like workshopped. So you would go to the festival and you would work with script doctors and other writers, and they'll help you. I know, right? It's so funny.
Did you come up with that term?
No, it's an actual thing.
Is that really a thing that's written on paper when you do that?
Yeah, it's almost like You know what a ghostwriter is?
Yes, it's true.
It's almost like a ghostwriter, because a lot of script doctors, they're not credited as screenwriters, right? So you just have these film, and studios have a lot of them like on retainer, and they're like, we got the script, just kind of like go polish it a little bit, see what's wrong with it, right? And maybe obviously Tarantino. I bet Tarantino doesn't use them. Like the Coen brothers wouldn't use.
He probably doesn't listen to them much. Exactly. I mean, with all the knowledge this guy has, whoosh,
if there's a project that you've got, whatever writer,
it makes it
and
so
by
much
whatever
better.
writer, I mean like a fucking high up there professional writer, but it's not. It's a writer that's not the writer-director, that's not an auteur.
An auteur,
Yeah.
I love how we both said it like almost at the same time. I said it the like proper from here way, and you said it the like more proper way.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Auteur. But so if you're a writer for a studio, let's say you have a contract from a studio to write, and then the studio has contracts with directors, and let's say you're one of the directors, I'm one of the writers. I'll write the script. I'll sell it to the studio. They'll give me my 500,000. I'll fuck off, like whatever. But then the studio will have the script. They'll send it to a couple of script doctors to get it kind of like up there, like whatever. It's a lot of it has to do with what are the trends? What do we like? Do we want to put in a little bit more comedy? Like that's that's when a script becomes way more generic, right?
Yeah, because they I feel like nowadays, especially, they enter into a machine kind of. It's like, here are the things that work. We need by page 7. We need to have this.
Exactly. It's like an action beat at this page, and you can look that up. There's a
actually
lot of
it works. It's just you end up not fucking feeling anything. That's the thing about Tarantino. He takes his time with the scenes. We were talking about this before, right? How just like, man, this scene's, it's talking about like between a neighbor and another person, and it's just going to be long. It's going to be a conversation that goes on longer and becomes awkward, and like it's human. It's like it's really,
like a real conversation.
Exactly,
and
it's lovely. But he writes them, which is really good. Like he's got quality writing.
You hear the voice, and I think that's what makes it. Like for me personally, like written and directed by.
Oh yeah, that
and it's fucking. I mean.
I can't. To me, that's the most important. I love David Fincher, for example. He's like one of my favorite directors, but I can't have him up there because he tends to take books and read out.
Yeah.
I love directors who have their own stuff, like Edgar Wright. You know, he writes his own stuff, and like Tarantino.
But there's things that like I get, and I 100% think because the style becomes like way more pure about it, right? And especially then if you have a director that writes and edits.
Yeah.
Right, that's 100% like.
You think also the editing?
I don't think it has to be done, but there's directors that do it.
Big names?
Like off the top of my head, I can say Kevin Smith, but he's like medium name.
I think he's just like a constant. He's been like he's got a great career.
He's like a cult director. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. But I don't think any of the big timers. Like I think that's one of the departments you have to like. It's such a masterful thing, editing. That you need to be able to find that editor who's like way better than you and be like.
But then you also have to find somebody that it's your kind of weird. Yeah, yeah. Right? Like that the vision cannot like clash.
Yeah, it's got to be a homie.
And so stepping a little bit back to the script thing, I think that when scripts get doctored and they go through the studio and the studio has to say like, oh well, this is a script and we cleaned it this way, it becomes a little bit more generic.
It goes through the lawyer.
A little bit.
And then it goes through the Project Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah, not a word. So that's when the scripts become a little bit more generic. Not to say anything there's a lot of script doctors that are very good script writers, but they're being paid to clean up a script up to the studio's standards, right? Then they find out director, and then they send to the director.
That's cool, man. I love hearing about the process like that, like knowing how it works behind the scenes, because it's like, 100%. Dude, I'm like not even remotely there yet, you know, on that level, and I can't wait to be on that level, and I like that's what we're aiming for, you know, like no ifs, ands, or buts, you know, a couple of buts, but I mean,
and some ants,
ants, like oh shit, there's no answer.
We're in an apartment in Montreal, and like the end of winter. There's. So,
are we on number 2?
Well, I'm moving on to number 2. I don't know.
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? So you get dialogue, and Tarantino's Nazdrovia. Tarantino's always been very iconic because of his dialogue in the movies that are kind of.
And his music choices.
True. So it's one of those things that you could not have him. You'll not have the films that you had if he was only directing.
No, absolutely not. We were talking about shots before. We were talking about which, you know, like the great cinematography that he has. Right. So, for example, like that shot of, it was like a 3-position.
When they're in the parking lot.
Oh, that parking lot 3-position. But it was like, it was dolly move first, dolly move to second position, crane up, overhead down shot, and you have like the car that's in just a perfect position, and it just like goes out, and everything like. Every frame was just so constructed, and most like you need to give incredible conditions to your DOP to be able to achieve frames of that level. Like the amount of time it takes to like figure out your frame 1, how much time it takes to figure out your position 2, how much time it takes to figure out position 3, and you're working with like big ass cranes and stuff. Yeah. Like, dude, that was.
I mean, even working with the simplest like handheld. Camera movement and actors moving around the location. Yeah, figuring out like you're gonna be here, and then your second position is here, and then when you say this, you're gonna turn this way. it takes a lot of time.
And we're figuring out coverage the day of. Like at the level that we're at right now, it's like we don't have the resources to figure out coverage, you know, before with like. But actually, we kind of do. I think at the end of the day, if you work closely with your DOP and you have like let's do the maximum with this, okay? So let's like map it out. Basically, if you have meetings, you can kind of do like a rough blocking and then like, you know, place your decoration here, place a decoration there.
Yeah.
It just takes time, man. But Tarantino, I think, like that level of cinematography in his film is so high. Like I feel like he's got something to do with it. I feel like he's really directing he's working with his DOP in an incredible way.
Like very close.
That like the shots are just god damn.
Well,
incredible.
and I mean you had to
They're
do
imaginative.
it this way in this because you're telling a story in the late 60s in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And he's such a film lover.
He's a
it's
lover of that era too, and that
right. And it's a very interesting era because it's right when the studio era of Hollywood was ending, and new Hollywood or the new American wave, I think it's kind of what's properly called, it's coming up. So what happened is that you had the studios controlling everything, and you had the big ass productions with like Ben-Hur and Lawrence of Arabia and Casablanca and all these like old-timey like epic films, right?
Studio films of high production value.
And it's because the studios controlled
American,
everything.
what do you call it? American exceptionalism. That's like how they made their films. They just put tons of resources in their shit, and it was just incredible.
And the studios controlled everything, right? So you had it's instead of being like I don't know if this was how it was for the people, like the general audience goers, but if we would have had the same kind of communication resources and accessibility that we have now, I think people would have been like, you know what, let's go see the new Warner's Brother movie. Let's go see the new Fox movie. Let's go see the new Columbia movie. Instead of being like, oh, let's go watch the new Tarantino movie, right? Because
the studios were the ones that were driving the attention.
Exactly. After that, in the New Hollywood, the director became the focus. In the New Hollywood, you've got people like Scorsese. It became in the 70s. Everybody that was doing movies in the 70s is that, you know? Like, you've got Spielberg, Scorsese. I mean, George Lucas, technically. You've got... technically, I suppose.
Well, you don't want to go full George Lucas.
No, I don't. So you've got that generation of filmmakers that the director becomes somebody that you're like, oh shit, it's a new Scorsese movie, it's a new like in the movie we see like Roman Polanski starting to be a thing, right?
It's okay. So he really captures that whole like build up of that transition there. Man, that's really cool because I didn't know like any of that history. So like you're more of a film buff than I am, which is like
in a weird way
we have like a different approach to filmmaking. It's really cool because like, man, I respect your films like to a high level. Like, I love what you do, my
same
friend,
to you,
for
man.
real. And let's drink. It's like, what was I gonna say about it? I was gonna say, I forgot. We're gonna cut eventually, right? And then we're gonna repatch it.
We'll fix it in post. Fuck it. No, we're talking about the studios. The studios have become like the studios go down, the directors go up. You've got Roman Polanski in the movie. He's starting to be a thing.
Sorry, we should do a thing for editing starting now, where we just like flash something in front of the lens, for example. Okay. And then that tells us where to cut. If ever. Okay. Want. Anyways.
I mean, you're gonna cut this.
Yeah. What were you saying?
So we were talking about Roman Polanski being in the film. Roman Polanski's starting to go up. He's coming from Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, and what I was saying was that like I didn't know any of those details from like because you're more of a film buff than I am. Yeah, you're more of a film buff, and that's fun.
It's interesting because like there's a certain tension about the movie. Like a couple of days ago, I sent you like a casual text like, "Yo, how familiar are you with the Charles Manson murders and stuff?" And you're like,
creepy text.
Yeah.
But here's my answer.
And you're like, "Why?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." I didn't bring it up because like when it's something very interesting because. My brother is also very film buffish, right?
Yeah, tu hermanos mucho.
Like, and he's like, I think even a bigger film buff than me.
Think
like
so.
he knows his shit, and he goes for classic movies. He's got a subscription to the Criterion channel.
Dude, he totally outdorks you for sure.
100%. But
in a good way, the best.
When
way.
I was like talking to him about the movie, and we were like watching the movie and all this shit, he's like, "Oh shit," you know, like. it's that moment when the Manson family is gonna murder Sharon Tate and her friends in the house. But then when I watched it with Jonathan in theaters, I'm just gonna put Jonathan in a very awkward position with this.
I feel like we've already done it once, and I don't even know if it'll make the cut because we don't want to present as angry.
I mean, no. It's not. It's nothing about that. It's just like, okay. If you wanna,
or it's punk rock.
If you wanna cut it, we'll cut it. And from now on, I'm just gonna say my friend that I went to see
This is the most
with,
punk rock episode we've ever done.
out of 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what's.
And I hope it gets hunker and rocker from now on.
Okay, just because of that, I want this to stay. What are we talking about? Let's fucking whip it out there.
I was with my friend watching. We watched it on theaters, right?
Yeah.
And you have this whole setup of it's this day in like 1969, and they're showing you like, oh shit, the film opens with Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate getting to the U.S. And you're like, oh shit.
That's the trailer? Is that what you're saying?
No, like with the film when they're in the airport.
The film. Oh, it's Roman Polanski that's opening the film. I have no memory.
So when the
sorry,
fine. This is like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So the movie opens.
Yeah.
And you see Roman Polanski, some guy acting as Roman Polanski.
Yeah, in that beautiful
and
car.
Margot Robbie acting as Sharon Tate.
That's what it opens on? I didn't even
They're
remember.
in the airport. No. They're arriving to the U.S. It opens with Leo and Brad.
Yeah.
They're doing what does a stuntman do? Remember? And there's this shot that you have the interviewer turning to them. It's a very very nice
shot,
like 1:1 aspect ratio shot.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
And they talk a little bit about like, well,
no, it opened on a TV movie. It was like a montage of all the stuff that was happening, and it was like on CBS or something like that.
Oh yeah, with the show.
And then it goes to
and they go to the interview.
So
right?
It starts with the show.
So they set up the show.
Such a weird opening. It's like I love how he opens with confusion.
Right.
That's why I have a hard time remembering it because he just confuses the fuck out of you.
But you're there. You're like, oh, it's these people. That's like because I mean.
Okay, we're in it.
Even sometimes when you tell a story, it happens to me a lot. I start like in a weird fucking middle of a story, right?
Dude, figuring out where to start your story is the hardest thing.
It's the worst thing. But anyway, so we start with Rick Dalton and Cliff, whatever his name is, like we start with Brad and Leo.
Cliff Ballbag. I don't feel like that's his name. I took a chance. And, I feel like I got it wrong.
So with Cliff and Leo, Brad and Leo, let's go with Brad and Leo.
Today with Cliff.
And they're kind of just doing their thing. They have their show. They explain to you what does a stuntman do.
Yeah.
And it's like it's funny because Tarantino has these like, well, my movies are for movie people. Yeah. In a weird way, you enjoy them at that level.
It's true.
But also, I think this was a little bit of like, well, how do we know what Brad Pitt does in this movie, right? So they explain to you a little bit
quickly.
It's like, well, it's a stuntman. That's why it's important. And before actually starting to working on movies, I was thinking like, fuck it. I love the people that do their own stunts. So I think it's fucking epic in a weird way.
Oh yeah, it's balls.
But 100%.
Jackie Chan. Sick.
Oh, Jackie Chan's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
So
Jackie Chan.
There's the logistical problem with it in like, well, if your lead gets hurt, you have to stop production, right?
Yeah.
If somebody breaks something, like imagine the Mission Impossible things. If Tom Cruise breaks something, production stops for like 3 weeks.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Everybody's fucking like.
Could you imagine shopping for insurance with a film like that? Yeah, so we have this little film. It's probably going to cost like $130 million. Who's it starring?
Don't worry about
Jackie Chan. He likes to do his own stunts. Yeah, we're gonna throw him off buildings.
But see, like Jackie Chan has been a martial artist since he was like in his 20s. Probably before that, since he was
born.
A kid.
He flopped out apparently, fell on the table, did a somersault, and then killed some guy.
Did he like karate chop his own umbilical cord?
Oh yeah, he did. yeah. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me.
Very important detail. Yeah. Google it.
Google it. It's true.
So, but then Tom Cruise, for example, he's just a dude that's fucking extreme,
Dude, yeah, Tom Cruise, like, that's his branding. He's like, I'm extreme, and then that's it.
Yeah.
He jumped on that couch once on Oprah. Was that him?
I don't know.
He was crazy. You never saw Tom Cruise jumping on the couch? It was crazy. Because he's in Scientology, right?
Right, of course. I mean, is that a Scientology thing? You gotta jump on couches?
Yeah, there's like, You look into it.
I might. Have Scientology. This has become a lot more interesting.
Oh yeah.
Fucking jumping on couches.
No, he's crazy.
But if your actor gets injured, you gotta stop production. All these people are just like, either you gotta keep paying people for not working, or you put everybody out of a fucking job.
Yeah.
So some people are important, right? So
it's nuts.
It becomes introduced in the movie early on, and immediately after that scene, we've got Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate arriving to the U.S.
Yeah.
And they give you the little thing that they're in a party, and they explain to you, like, saying like, Sharon Tate is like married to Roman Polanski, and she was dating this other guy.
For me, that scene was just so hard to follow because, like, I literally could not give less of a fuck about, like, Hollywood, like, and in general, like, who is who and, like, I couldn't care less, you know, the star system in general. So it was, like, super hard to follow that scene, like, but to me, that's not an imperfection of the film. It's just, I am not in your niche, like, fully.
The thing, though, is that I think that in order to get 100% enjoyment of this film at that level,
it probably works best with all of the references. Yeah.
You need to know what happened, like, who they are. You need to know what happened with, like, the Charles Manson killings. You need to know all that shit because...
There's like, a lot of back info that's, like, really
all the time watching this movie in theaters, I was like, oh, shit. I know where this is gonna end. I know where we're going because they give you the date. They tell you, like, Sharon Tate. You see Charles Manson himself walk up to the house at one point.
Which one was Charles Manson in the film?
So, Charles Manson, we only see him in one scene.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, it's early on in the movie, and the guy walks up to the house, and not Ron Polanski, but the other guy walks up, and he's like, hey, what do you want? And he's like, oh, my friends used to live here. They don't live here anymore, or whatever.
Okay.
And then he's like, no, they don't fucking live here anymore. And then,
I don't recall that.
Yeah, he's just walking.
So he really just placed him as like almost a rando character, but it's like one of the first connections.
You know, because the actor really looks like him. The actor, like, they did hair and makeup to make him look like. And all the time when Brad Pitt goes to the ranch, they're all like, decision. "Oh, Charlie's gonna love you. Charlie's gonna love you. Charlie."
But we never see him when they're at the ranch.
We never see him when he's at the ranch. Exactly.
That's nuts.
So at that point, it's not in their face, right?
That's the thing. Is like, imagine. Okay, look, like Tarantino is such a balls out director because it's like, we're gonna make this film and it's about the goddamn murders with this Manson family, and so that's gonna drive out a lot of people are gonna want to come see it, right? You know, and then they just don't show you Charles Manson. It's this film about Charles Manson without Charles Manson in it.
Well, and the thing, really if I remember correctly, the trailer showed you that, like,
so they leaned in on it.
They leaned in on it, and the thing too is that it's
very Hitchcock.
It's filmmaking history, though.
It's very,
because one of the, like, Sharon Tate wasn't, like, she was the next big thing in Hollywood.
Okay.
Man. And she was married to Roman fucking Polanski.
Which one is Sharon Tate in the film?
Margot Robbie. The girl that goes and watches her in the movies, and she's like, I'm in the movie.
That girl, yes. Yeah. Of course, yeah.
So she was the, like, up-and-coming. It's very interesting because you could argue that, like, Margot Robbie right now is in one point of her career and industry in general that she would be comparable to Sharon Tate. Because, like, Margot Robbie is just coming up from great...
solid casting then.
Exactly,
because, like, sakes. Okay.
She's, like, an up-and-comer that's done amazing movies, like, and she has very big range. She's done everything from this movie.
Yeah, I mean...
she did Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah,
She did I, Tonya.
Yeah, she's in all the big stuff.
She did Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. She's
yes,
Leo's
I know.
wife.
That's when she started exploding.
Exactly. So you've got this actor that she's on the up and
in
off
the same position as this girl was.
Sharon Tate was. Sharon Tate.
He's such a great curator. That's the thing with Tarantino. He's a curator.
Because I mean, he sat and watched fucking movies from 9 to 5 and, like, for fucking ever.
And he loved those women of the time, and he loves reading about it because he's such a goddamn pervert. And then it's like, she was this type of character. Who is that character of today?
100%.
That's Tarantino is such a film lover. There's so much love in his films just because he's such a film lover. It's nuts.
It's something that I love about the movie because it shows you, like, the darkest day in Hollywood history.
Yeah.
When a fucking sick madman compelled some kids and brainwashed some kids to go and kill
What a
director, and
so this happened. Like I was aware of the. Like I was aware it was a crazy ass murder.
So
but
how
I didn't
it
know all the
happens is
details.
like Charles Manson, for some reason, it's kind of the argument that they have at the end that it's like, oh, these people. For him, it was like, oh, these people are like the mainstream and they do movies.
He was
and
a
all this
dickbag
shit.
with excuses to kill people.
And that was
You
his
know?
thing. He started the cult, and then he sent these kids to the Polanski house to kill everyone, right?
Just for fucking. Just to
He
make
was
a
making
point.
a point or something.
What a weirdo.
And so these kids go to Ron Polanski's house. He was in England shooting a movie at the time.
Wait. Polanski, who now diddles children.
Yes.
I mean, after going through that, I can get that you're fucked up.
Yeah.
But the diddling the children, no, but like
100%, it's very important to make clear that
I
we
didn't
here on this
understand this part of
podcast
history.
do not.
We do not endorse. We condone.
Like, no way. That's fucked up.
Well, maybe
In a different paragraph, in a different idea, what Ron Polanski
that's the thing
went
with
through.
Tarantino, man. Like he brings up the pedophilia stuff, like a little bit, man. If you like the shots with that girl, the way that like he's on your knees and stuff, and he's like, got a gun to her face.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't like seeing that. That's the thing with Tarantino. He shows you stuff you won't like to see,
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
that's
nuts.
great. And so he chooses to portray this day, like the darkest day in Hollywood history, where the Manson family breaks into Roman Polanski's house with intent to murder everyone there. So they've got Sharon Tate and a couple of friends that were staying over, and the other actor guy that was there. Mm-hmm. And they kill...
Sir acts a lot?
Sir acts a lot.
Yeah.
No. So they kill everyone in the house.
Yeah.
Like, this is what really happened. They kill everybody in the house.
Crazy.
And Sharon Tate was pregnant. So they killed Roman Polanski's unborn child.
Whoa,
and his wife.
For fuck's sakes, man.
So...
I mean, I can forgive the guy for going certain levels of crazy. For fuck's sakes, man. Holy shit. I didn't know that about Polanski.
So, when I was watching this movie with my other friend...
Yeah.
All the time I was like, oh shit, we're going to that point where the Manson family is gonna murder these people in their house. Like, holy shit. So that you're building up here in the movie, right?
That's
You're
awesome.
like, this is gonna happen at the end of the movie. Get fucking ready. And they show you Sharon Tate, and she's like, remember how they introduced them with the music? Your Sunshine. What was the song?
Beautiful scene when she just lights up the place. She walks into like a party, and then she just like she's dressed in her like yellow outfit, and she just lights up the place. And the song is literally just "You are the sunshine," blah blah blah. And this girl is like super wholesome. She was like this beautiful actress, and she was wholesome AF. Like she's presented at all times, like not on. She's cute. She's wholesome. And then, so she's set up, and then...
So you introduce a character like that, right? Like, you introduce
That was
a
a great
character and
setup.
saying, like, she's a successful actress, like, she's coming back from, like, Europe or whatever. Everybody's just taking pictures of them in the airport. They got to the party. Everybody fucking loves them. You get a little explanation of, like, well, she's Sharon Tate. He's Ron Polanski. Where this kind of the dynamic that they have. And it's like, she was such a fucking amazing person, but she is such a character that everybody loves to the point.
She's like a force of nature, this girl.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was.
To the point that, like,
crazy.
Steve McQueen, when he's explaining, he says, like, she was engaged to this guy, then she broke up the engagement and married Roman Polanski.
Okay.
But the first guy is still friends with her, and they're still close. Because it's to that point that everybody loves Sharon Tate. To that point, because she was such like the character is portrayed like I have no idea about fucking how she was, right? But
it's based
like
on
the
a true
character
story.
saying like this woman was the next big thing in Hollywood. Everybody fucking loved her. She was nice to everybody. See how much like hugging she's doing in the movie. How she's nice to people.
She's always presented in great light. I mean, and that's what's she's like the classical Hollywood beautiful love interest babe. Like in a film, she's just always presented in good light. She's dressed attractive and appropriate, well lit, like behaves very well. She's very cute,
and she's generally
just like
she's generally good to everybody.
Exactly,
right?
she's super attractive. It's
That's
insane.
Margot Robbie.
And then she's just always presented in great light. I love it.
But you know, like, if you're familiar with the Manson murders, like, you know that the movie's gonna end with her and her baby being fucking murdered.
Fuck. See, I wish I could watch it with that in mind.
That's what I was. That's why I sent you that text.
That's so cool.
Because when I saw it with my other friend, he was like,
Wait, what was the text you sent me that I probably ignored or missed?
So I'll tell you what happened with my other friend, then I'll tell you what happened with the text that I sent you, right? So I see it with my friend, and we're watching the movie, and they introduce it, and I knew it was like around that time, and I knew that it was like that Charles Manson was a character and stuff, but I didn't really exactly know
where the story was going.
Where it's going, right? And I like to avoid trailers as much as I can. So I sit that.
I avoid them like the coronavirus.
Yes.
Sorry,
which we might have.
I haven't been avoiding greatly.
Not greatly.
But like now we're gonna isolate because
the
commingling.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I'm like, oh shit, this is how it's gonna end. Oh shit, man. We're just counting down to the moment where these people get brutally murdered by these fucking crazy people. So then the tension of Brad Pitt going to the ranch and seeing them, and you're like, whoa, maybe he's gonna run into like Charles Manson. What the fuck's gonna? Even when we were watching the movie, you're like, who's gonna become the fucking crazy cult leader? Because you caught on the cult like immediately. First scene, you caught on with the cult. The first scene when they showed you the hippie girls, you're like, it's gonna fucking be a cult movie. It's gonna be a fucking cult movie.
Look at all these dirty hippies. Hippies like cults.
You know, you're listening to me, okay? If you find yourself in a cult, odds are you're surrounded by goddamn hippies.
If you're in a cult, might as well bang a hippie chick.
With dirty feet, Tarantino style. So, by the end of the movie...
Sorry guys, I get country when I wear this. I get country when I wear stuff like this.
You're kind of a little bit country.
A little bit.
And a little bit rock and roll. So, South Park reference.
That's dope.
So, when we finish the movie, and my friend says like, I kind of found that to be anticlimactic in a weird way.
What, all the murdering?
That's what I said. He's like, well, not the murdering, but it's like it came out of nowhere, right? Like, we're having the day, but it came out of nowhere.
kind of like that to me because,
But then I'm thinking like, dude, you knew where this was going.
No.
Like, and he's like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean no? Like, Charles Manson, Roman Polanski, like, Sharon Tate, like... How did you... And he's like, well, what happened, right? And I was like, explaining the same thing I told you, right? Like, this happens, Charles Manson goes in there, they killed everybody, killed the unborn child, like, it's a fucking murder of the century. It's, like, wild. Obviously, like, Hollywood goes crazy, the country loses their shit.
I never understood why this motherfucker was so popular. It's like, so he had a cult and murdered a bunch of people, like... Fucking
he murdered the right people.
Fucking gnarly. But like, you know, compared to like the Kool-Aid people who like murdered like 200.
And Waco, Texas, Jim Jones. Let me tell you about Jim Jones.
That's right.
Because I used to in Texas.
Now that was a quality cult.
And we know our fucking Texas cult down in Texas.
You want to talk about cults? That was a quality cult.
Yeah, Jim Jones. Fuck.
They made great Gatorade. The best Gatorade in town. It is to die for, apparently.
I'll tell you what.
What would you tell me?
The fact that drinking the Kool-Aid is now an expression.
Legendary cult level.
That's legendary cult level. But, so, in the movie, man, like, if you have that knowledge, that, like, Hollywood or, like, cult history knowledge, you know where the movie is going, so the tension is building automatically as everything's kind of counting down to that date.
Exactly.
And they show you more about the Manson murders.
I like that about the,
And it's something I think that, like, I mean, you saw the movie, like, and my other friends saw the movie, and there's a fucking...
What movie?
The movie! And it's like, obviously, you fucking enjoy the movie, and it's like, it's a great fucking movie. Like, you don't lose...
You know how last time we were talking about a film working on many levels?
Exactly.
Here it is again. It's like, so it's a film where, I mean, like, I don't know all the background stories of it, but even without that information, it still works. It's awesome because it works on a pure visceral level. It's like, here are these characters, you develop...
you develop... Very polite of you.
Oh, yes. So you develop these characters in a very interesting light. I don't know.
Pray say.
What?
Pray say.
Pray say. The characters are well developed. The story's very interesting. You feel for the characters. It's like, if all of that works, then it works on that level where it becomes universal.
Oh, 100%.
And you don't need to have these references.
No, it adds another level in which, that's what I'm saying, particularly the tension that it creates. Yeah. Because you're like, all the time watching it a second time, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's cool. I mean, you still feel it because it's an amazing
But you're not
movie.
as surprised from it as you were the first
Especially
time.
because Tarantino goes in this direction of, and for fuck's sake, if somebody that has not watched the movie is still listening to this,
fuck off.
Second spoiler warning, because this one's a fucking bombshell of a spoiler.
They all die at the end. And I found that weird. Is that what we're talking about?
No, we're talking about how they don't die in the end.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, go for it.
So in the end, you have what would have happened at that night. You know, these kids are right up there in the gate before going up to murder Sharon Tate. Mm-hmm. And Leo comes up drunk as fucking face with a blender full of margarita. I fucking love it.
And he's fucking up my Tuesday. I was chilling.
You goddamn hippies.
Yeah. Get off my lawn, you hippies. It's great.
So then they decide to go and murder Leo because at some point when they drive down the street, this kid says like, well, Charlie told us to go to this place and murder everyone.
Yeah.
So he tells them to go to the Roman Polanski house and murder everybody. Yeah. But since this happens, they're like, oh, you know what? We should fucking kill Rick Dalton. That's like Leo. Yeah. We should just fucking kill him up and like whatever. So by introducing his own characters, Tarantino is altering Hollywood history, right?
Because wait, so did these people? They died in reality? They got murdered?
Well,
wait.
Yeah.
Oh, but in the film they didn't get murdered. Whoa!
So that's kind of what I'm saying.
I love how Tarantino does alternate reality.
And that's what I was saying.
I love
in Inglourious
Basterds,
he dipped his toes in it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and we kill fucking Hitler in the theater. Yeah! It's so metal. Yeah. And it's like, fuck yeah, man.
Well, yeah, it's true. We're gonna have the Nazis talk about milk. He's like, oh yes, you have the milk. And so it's like, what are you talking about? And then you murder all the Nazis, and it's like alternate reality, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
It's same thing here, and I think it's a weird way because I think it works in two levels. The first level, it's Tarantino saying, wouldn't it have been great?
Yes.
If somebody would have stopped this shit, you know, Sharon Tate would still be around. Roman Polanski would not diddle any kids. Like, would have like all this crazy fucking. Like, we wouldn't have the darkest day in Hollywood history be a thing, and we'd have like these motherfucking dirty hippies would have been like murdered.
Yeah.
And everything would have been great.
Hippie or two less, compared to Jesus. Yeah.
And at the same time, it's also kind of like...
fucking Tarantino, always so intense.
It's Tarantino playing with with
timelines, genre.
It's just playing like, hey, wouldn't the world be better this way? This is kind of how I would like to imagine that things could have happened, and it would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And
it's like there's so much of his love for Hollywood in there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what seals it because you did it.
They overlapped.
You did it.
Is that where we're ending it?
What? No.
It was so good.
It was still good. And I think it's part of the love. Mm-hmm. The love of Hollywood.
That... Oh, dude, you want some more Watacious with honey in it?
Yeah,
it is delicious. We gotta watch out for our health.
Yeah, of course. We gotta
drink up on the Watacious.
I'm gonna put a little bit more lemon in there. Do you want some lemon in yours?
Dude,
I think you're all lemoned out.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna lemon.
I mean, it's a Mexican thing that we just put lime. We put lime, but lemon will
But do you pronounce it lemon?
Lemon.
I feel like you
It sounded Frencher than I intended. Yeah,
lemon.
Lemon.
Oh, yeah, zest it.
So, I think it's Tarantino's...
Nazdrovje.
I think it's Tarantino's thing saying, like, he loves film history so much that he's putting up an alternate film history. In his world, Hollywood went that direction.
I think he just has. I think it's kind of like a revenge against the Manson thing. It's kind of like because he has so much love for film and that era that it's kind of like for this thing, it's kind of like a revenge, like fuck you.
Yeah, because I'm gonna murder you. Yeah, they murdered something. Of Hollywood.
They murdered something beautiful.
And then Tarantino's like, well, I'm gonna fucking murder you back. And honestly, there's gonna be a.
It's gnarly.
I think that at some point, like they are portrayed as such a ridiculous bunch, right?
Yeah.
Especially with these interactions with.
Ooh, we're talking about the dirty hippies.
The dirty hippies.
Yeah.
Because at some point, like you've got these chicks that are rummaging through trash, doing all this hippie
They
shit,
do rummage.
right?
They are cute and attractive.
They're very fucking cute. But then they interact with Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's such a matter-of-fact guy, like, I ain't going to jail for some poutine.
His character is
so
great.
Good. Oh, I mean, he won an Oscar for it.
He did?
Yeah, he won an Oscar for this character.
So, did both of the actors win an Oscar?
No, just...
No, they're still coming, keeping up with the fashion of not giving any Oscars to...
too many movies.
No, but what's the name of that other actor?
Leo?
Leo. Yeah.
Well, he got his Revenant Oscar.
He got what?
His Revenant Oscar.
Yeah, but that one was... I can go on about it.
It's like,
you won an Oscar for acting cold by going in a river and being very cold. It's like, your director was a dick. It's like the first time this guy doesn't act and they give him an Oscar.
I think
it's like, what the hell?
I mean, I think it was...
He's a great Oscar.
I really like The Revenant. I really like The Revenant.
Oh,
However...
man, we're going to go into it.
We've had this conversation before. However, we haven't had this conversation up in the internet
Not
before,
publicly.
Not publicly, but however... Leo did a convincing role in that.
Oh no, he was good.
A convincing job in that role, right?
He's great in everything.
However, that's the thing. I don't think that is his best role.
Exactly.
I think it was just like, we need to give this kid an Oscar.
It's like, man,
I guess we're giving him an Oscar this year.
Oh, I feel like that. Oh, here's what's happening.
The Wolf of Wall
Hockey
Street.
analogy incoming.
All right.
So I feel like it's
Wait.
What's up? You going to get a hockey stick?
I'm gonna go get a hockey stick.
Ah shit, dude. Let's fuck it. Cut the hockey stick. So hockey analogy coming. Let me think about it. Okay, you just.
All right. Here's the puck.
Okay, wait. I got it. Sit down. Oh, we're doing a face-off?
I mean, maybe we got all this shit in the way.
All right, let's do it.
Let's fucking do it.
Okay. You know how to do a good face-off?
No fucking clue. I'm Mexican, man. We ain't got.
Oh, danger. Oh, that's water. The electricity is there. Fuck it. Cut. This is hilarious. Okay, no, I should start with where the electric is.
So much water.
Oh my god, Flirtatious. Ah! What is happening? So that's been contained. Stuff happens when you can't just cut the hockey face-off fan.
Hey, you're a towel.
Getting dried all nice. Let's get the beer out of the way. Hockey stick? What was all this about? Why do we have hockey sticks? I'm so confused.
This is about the Revenant.
It was about the Revenant. And then we got the hockey sticks.
Yeah.
And we were about to face
lefty
off.
hockey stick?
Yeah, like
yeah,
I don't even know why I have a lefty hockey stick.
is so
I'm
weird.
righty. Are you a lefty or righty?
No, I'm a righty.
That's the right way.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I didn't even fucking have this. Anyway,
what was we were talking
the point about it, it's like we're saying that they just gave Leo an Oscar for The Revenant because he needed an Oscar.
Yeah.
I think it was a great movie.
Hockey analogy! So the hockey analogy was...
yeah, that's true, you had that.
The hockey analogy was... Let me get a little Canadian for this.
Alright.
I need my Budweiser.
Yeah,
oh, who's this? This is
that's
yours.
fine, just
we
open
got
a
new
new
ones. I don't know if new ones are responsible at this point. I mean, we've things are getting out of hand.
I mean, we had a flirtatious accident, but...
It'll happen, though.
It will
You know, the boys get rowdy out there. It'll happen.
It happens. Punk rock.
You know what? Open up a cold one. All right, so we're talking about hockey analogies.
We were talking about hockey, and I have no clue what you're gonna say.
So the thing about Leo is, I feel like it's in hockey. You know when they don't give you like a 2 minutes for cross checking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means? If they don't give you a 2 minutes for cross checking, you know, and they feel real bad about it, then they're gonna like give you one of those sympathy penalties. You know, you don't get the penalty, they're like, should have handed that guy the penalty. That was a dick move. Missed that one. They're gonna give you a freebie. Right?
Okay.
They're gonna give the other team a penalty, and I feel like that's what they were doing with Leo. He deserved it for what was that film with Tarantino? Django Unchained.
Django, yeah. Oh, he was great in Django.
My favorite anecdote ever.
Yeah.
My favorite anecdote ever, I think, about actors is like when he smacks his hand down on the table and just starts bleeding, and everyone's like super tense, and it's like the most tense scene ever because I mean, he's bleeding, he's not supposed to, and there's Tarantino behind the frickin' thing, and if he doesn't say cut, you don't cut. Oh man, that scene has so much tension, and he keeps going with it like so far.
Right.
It's,
so
the best.
What happens is that you've got it's close to the end of Django Unchained, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the slave owner douchebag. with southern accent or
Yeah.
whatever that's fucking way. It's like great about it, and he gets so pissed at one point.
He's the best baddie.
And he slams his hand, and he's like, there's like
Starts-
glass involved or something. He's
Yeah.
got a shard of glass in his finger, in his hand.
Doesn't he lick it?
He
No?
takes it out.
Okay.
He stays in character. Say like
100%.
Tarantino's not.
He didn't say cut.
Tarantino's not saying cut. So he takes the thing out. He goes to the female lead,
Yeah.
like Django's wife that he has as a slave, and he like
And this is on
runs
script.
his
Oh.
bloody hand
No way.
on her face. And
It's
he says
better
like
than I
something to
remembered.
her.
Holy fuck! How do
Yeah.
you not give that guy an Oscar?
Oh,
for
that's
fuck's
fucking-
sakes! So that's what I'm saying, man. They didn't give
The
this
Wolf
guy.
of Wall Street was also Oscar.
He was phenomenal, and that came after, and then they gave it.
That came after, yeah.
They gave it to him for The Revenant after two incredible films like that.
The thing though is
You know
like,
what? The Oscars
I'm
have
actually-
no credibility.
No,
None
no,
whatsoever.
zero,
I'm
but-
sorry, for fuck's sakes.
But
This guy.
I mean, this is gonna come haunt your career at some point. They're gonna be like, "Oh, he talked shit about the
Dude,
Oscars."
I'll talk shit about the Oscars any day.
Anyway, so wait, what else was I gonna say? That I'm actually glad he didn't get it from Django because that would have been a supporting.
He was supporting. That makes. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So
But then in Wolf of Wall Street, he deserved it
Or
for-
Revenant, I mean, he got it for lead.
But he didn't. He did. But yeah. So I think at least respect Hollywood, respect Oscars for giving it to him, because I think you did the penalty. You missed. You should have called it. Okay, you should have called it. Leo's the best actor, and then you're like, oh, he fucked up. So Leo acting like a cold guy coming out of a river being cold. He looked cold. So they're like, I'm gonna give it to him because
He hit like a bear heart or something.
yeah, and he's a vegetarian, so he's like, I'm gonna puke. So I'm literally not gonna act. I'm just not gonna act. I'm just gonna puke. And you're gonna tell me to be cold, and I'm like, okay, I'll go in the river, and I'm gonna be cold. He didn't act. They gave it to him when he didn't act. It's like he was good in that film. He was very good. Like I love him. I love every one of his performances. But like, man, if you're gonna give it to him,
Give it for
really
Romeo
for
and
that
Juliet.
one. Dude, he deserved it back in the day. He deserved
100%.
like he's
He's
been
so good.
deserving it for the longest time. It's like it's
What's
weird.
eating Gilbert Grape?
Dude, like the Titanic, like all of the films he ever did, it was like literally like phenomenal goddamn performances.
Yeah,
Why
he's
weren't they
really good.
giving it to him? Like, name a bad film that he's done. You can't. I can't either.
Hang on.
That's because I don't remember anything.
Because he works with like Scorsese and Tarantino and like fucking and like.
But he also works for them because he's got dang Leo DiCaprio.
yeah, fuck yeah, man, he's the best.
He's the best.
He is probably the best.
He's the best.
He's one of the best.
Dude, yeah, undeniably so. I mean, we can for sure get away with saying that.
Yeah.
I love how we whipped out the hockey sticks. Are we ending this with like a glove fight?
Maybe.
Casgan? Game?
Castle?
Casgan?
Let's see. There's too much to talk about the movie, man.
Do you know what Casgan is?
No idea.
It's when you put on a helmet and you fight with your. It's this game the hockey players play in the changing room. So what you do is you put on your helmet and then you put on your gloves and you just box. It's Casgan.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Such a fucking Canadian thing to do, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like we haven't really.
I was too much of a pansy though when I played hockey to play Casgan, but yeah. Yeah. Now I've got brain damage, so I'm like, yeah, I'll play.
That's
more
like when I
brain
got
damage.
nothing to lose.
More brain damage, less brain damage. Yeah.
It's just a brain damage is brain damage.
Yeah.
So
What were you thinking about talking about?
I was thinking about hockey sticks, man. Hockey sticks. No, the recreation of Hollywood in this
Yeah.
movie was insane.
Yeah.
There's so many references to actual movie theaters, actual places back in the day. That
Yeah.
just being there, the treatment that Tarantino gives to these locales, the because as we said before, right, he really cares about Hollywood.
Yeah.
He really cares
You
about.
can see there's love in there. Mm-hmm. It gets through. Yeah, it's
And I
nuts.
mean, I think this was he's finally. I mean, he loves his westerns.
This is film what, 9 or 8?
9.
Whoosh.
He said he's only gonna be
Doing 10. I know.
I don't know, man.
I feel like, man,
know,
how do
can
you
he
top this
stop?
one? I think he's probably going to wait a little while for the next one.
For sure.
Especially given the current situation and everything. It's like he's going to choose his timing wisely. He's going to figure something out.
Well,
But
things
damn,
that he doesn't
Tarantino
put
guy.
something out to put something out.
No.
He
He puts something out when it needs to come out. That's
Exactly.
what's good, man.
and I mean,
Dude, that guy does. I like so Tarantino is one of my biggest influences personally. Like he's just one of those directors, man. Like, because first of all, like, I think the most valuable thing that you can be as like have as a director is being able to do anything you want. And there's not that many directors out there. Yeah. How many directors out there have that goddamn freedom? Like at any given time in Hollywood, 4 or 5 maybe max.
I think that people that are
like,
able to do anything they want, I would say it's probably
Tarantino.
I don't know,
Villeneuve gets to do everything. Dude, how much money he's got? I do what I want money.
Yeah,
for
but
doing,
he's doing like
least.
Studio films though.
Yes,
I get what you're saying.
They give him the means, but I feel like they really let him run free. I feel like they really trust him. I think that
once he's got a project, it's just like he's gonna do it. But like Tarantino,
I would like him to. I would like to see him do his own stuff. You're right. That's the thing. Tarantino's the best man.
He's the only
guy
one that
who gets
comes
to
to
do what he
mind
wants.
at that level.
Scorsese.
That's doing. True.
Scorsese gets to do what he wants. There's a couple. It's like Edgar Wright. He wanted to do Ant-Man, so he kind of got fucked on Ant-Man. But he does his own films, and there are these great films. He made a killing with Ant-Man. Apparently, he's got like 30% of the writing on it or something.
That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, awesome. He would get. At that point, you're probably already like you get paid no matter what happens.
Oh yeah, probably.
There's a lot of
the lines are on the paper. Like, I wrote them. I'd like the money, please. Thank you.
There's directors, for example, Tim Burton.
I love that guy. I don't. What were we talking
about? Tim Burton has like you hire him to direct.
Yeah.
You pay him up front. You pay him his whatever.
He knows his name value.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's what he banks on. And he produces so many things.
Let's say it's I can't remember what it is, but something like 8 million or something back in the day. So you would pay him like, let's say we want to do a Tim Burton film. He's like, okay, give me my 10 million.
I need my 10 mil though.
So you pay him his 10 million, and his contract says no matter what happens.
The name.
No, like. What? He's got his money. He's keeping that money.
This is
There's been projects that he was hired to direct and whatever. The project falls down in pre-production.
I have respect for that.
He keeps his fucking money. Like
much respect.
There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Like
I feel the way I feel about Tim Burton. I'm kind of like that Anchorman scene where he's like, "I hate you, but goddamn it, do I respect you?" That's how I feel about him.
I don't know. Good. I've heard a lot of shit. Like, I mean,
he puts his name on like a lot of films, so it's presented almost as if he directed it because it's very ambiguous the way that they advertise it, right?
Yeah, it's like I hate that they do that. It's like
so annoying, man.
From Tim Burton,
exactly.
Who brought you Nightmare Before Christmas? Concept movie, and you're like, nah. Every time time I hear a trailer, that's why I don't see trailers anymore because
I hate sport.
People do these like even now like Jordan Peele. It's like from Jordan Peele, and you're like, why are you saying from Jordan Peele? Because for a Jordan Peele movie or any director movie, you're gonna say directed by,
exactly,
like, from the director that brought you. You know, it's
anytime
like,
I hear stuff like that, I'm like, wait, you're very ambiguous about it. Let me go look into it. And I'm like, oh yeah, he just put on his name. So it's like, for example, the Coraline film, which was great. It was like puppet. You remember that film, right?
Yeah,
so
it's a Neil Gaiman story.
Is that Mexican in any way?
No, Neil Gaiman's a British dude.
That sounds a lot more British.
He's one of the best fucking like Neil Gaiman. I'll tell you how
his
good
name
he is.
Is Neil Gaiman?
It's Gai.
Dude, it's Gaiman. That's so cool.
Neil Gaiman. So Neil Gaiman is the only author that has won. What prize was it? Anyway, he won a huge like literary prize.
Oh, that's cool.
For writing a graphic novel.
Whoosh!
Like what was it?
We gotta get on the graphic novel shit.
100%.
I love that idea that you had with Jay Vandersey explained it to me. I was like, oh damn, like I want to see this thing. I need to draw more, and honestly, the drawing has been kind of put to the side while we're doing all this filmmaking stuff because in the end, like filmmaking is kind of the priority. And then the apocalypse and all. So we whipped out our hockey sticks, drank some Watatious. We're getting through it.
Go out and kill some coronavirus zombies. It's gonna be lit. Get a case. You remember Casey Jones?
Watch out for the camera there.
I just saw that.
There's hockey sticks. Fano. I mean, I knocked down the water.
You did.
I did. It was me. I'm Canadian. I feel really inferior as a Canadian having messed that up. I should have respected
because of the hockey stick or because of the water. It's like it's a Canadian thing. We're not meant to knock over water at all.
Yeah, no, dude. I should have respected the hockey stick, and I did not, and accidents happen. So even as a Canuck myself, and you as a Mexican who would like to integrate, I'm
We're
happy
Sand Canucks.
I'm happy you're in the hockey club. We're just gonna high five the hockeys. See, you gotta respect the hockey stick.
This is a very tall stick. Wait, how tall?
That's not a tall stick. That's
No,
like
it's kind of right.
It's like 168 maybe. No, that's like 164.
This is a big tall.
Oh, you're at like 172 right there.
So, what were we fucking talking about?
I don't know, centimeters and stick length.
I got
before
confused
that.
when you
But
were-
before that,
Neil Gaiman.
the Irish potato famine.
Okay, so I have a question for you. That actually
Go for it.
So Tarantino likes his like Western. He likes his cowboys. He likes all this shit, and he integrates it all in this movie. But he took us to a time period that's very fucking dear to his heart.
right?
Yeah. And not only that, he says like, I love Hollywood, like classic Hollywood.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you my version of classic Hollywood, in which things happened this way because my characters were there.
Yeah.
Because my characters were there, the world is a fucking better place, which I think it's a fucking
true.
amazing
Yeah, for
way
sure.
to see it. So what would be your place that you would be like, you know what? If I have a movie
Okay.
in any period piece that I can like make it fucking better by putting my characters in it, what would it be?
Okay, so you're saying...
And why is it the Irish potato famine?
This is an interesting question you have here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I understand the question before I answer the question. So are you saying if I was to put any characters of my own into any epoch of films, so like...
they don't have to
just
be films.
epochs in general. Like, where would I like to have... What time would I
Where
like
do you
to tell
want
a
to
story?
have like exactly what time do you want
Yeah.
to tell a story and that you really want to like put those characters in that world and interact in that.
Gosh darn thee, that's
Not
a
necessarily
cool
be like,
question.
oh, I'm gonna tell the story of
Dude,
whatever this person,
Yeah.
right? Like, but no, I want to put my characters
Yeah.
in this historical point, in these whatever's happening, and have them play there.
Right now, quick answer for sure, I'm fairly goddamn confident about is like 1920s, Great Depression, and the goddamn blues era. Because, you know, maybe we're heading into those times, you know?
Yeah, we're in the new blues.
New blues. What was it? Vapor blues.
Vapor blues.
We're going into the vapor blues.
So
I think there's...
to the 20s.
Yeah. It's very... it's funny that you have... It's kind of like nature wave, you know? The past is like the... Because I want to tell stories that are both in the past and in the future kind of thing.
Okay.
The nature wave. So like all the sci-fi, if you look at like not Black Mirror, gosh darn me, that... the homage that I did to that Black Mirror... which was called Reverse Romeo and Juliet with Zoe Tang and Jonathan Van Der Zee.
Are we gonna cut to Reverse Romeo and Juliet?
We haven't seen any films. No, we can't. We're like hesitating with spoilers and of the festivals and stuff.
Okay, so we're gonna hold on.
I think we should present our films on our platform. But anyways, if you guys want to see Reverse Romeo and Juliet, say so in the comments. I'd love to show you. Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What was I saying? So yeah, I want to tell stories that are like in the future because like kind of I want to talk about the technology we have today pushed to the extreme and what it'll do to like human culture. I'm like very obsessed with like human culture kind of thing. How cultures interact with each other and blah blah la di da, right? And then that in Mexican, which is cerveza.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then so I want to tell the stories that are like in the future, what'll happen with technology? Where are we heading? Like, there's these, like, really scary ideas with, like, you know, you push the algorithms to their logical end and you have interpersonal relationships and then you kind of,
with
like...
algorithms?
With algorithms, with,
fucking
VR,
algorithms.
with tons of stuff, with all the technology we have today. Like, push it to the extreme, what'll happen to human culture. That's kind of, like, what I'm obsessed with. And then, so I want to tell stories that are in the future, but it's this very close future. And then I also want to tell stories that are in the past. Like, not past necessarily. It's like the whole nature wave concept, right? We were talking about, like, I want to have the stories that are more human nature oriented. So it's like the times where there wasn't technology or contexts where there are no technologies. Like, that's kind of what I want to focus on. Yeah.
So, any period, because sci-fi's always been great to... Sci-fi's always been great to push that, like, limit, right? Saying, like... We've got this particular problem, this particular aspect of our society, and if we push it to the
logical
to the
extreme.
logical extreme. It's sci-fi is like a thought exercise, right?
I love it.
And that's an amazing aspect of science fiction.
Yeah.
And so I think that the 20s is a great era, or a great time to explore the things that are haunting us in today's society, right? And where shit could go. Almost like these 20s are an echo of the...
I think they are.
Old 20s.
2020 is... Yeah, we're in new 20s right now, man.
Mid-20s.
I think... Yeah, it's like... It's gnarly, man, with everything that's going on. Like, for some reason, like, very recently, like, I've been listening to, like, blues, and I, like, really want to lean hard onto, like, the 1920s. And this film that we're working on right now, Secret Project...
Don't worry about it.
Well, that's another one.
Oh!
That's Project Falcon Raven, but...
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, this film about the virus that we're kind of working on with Zoe, that Zoe's writing right now, and I think to me that I wanted, it's a PSA video that's done like in the 1920s style about how to get through the coronavirus and how to, especially about the whole quarantine process, and it's meant to be comical, reassuring, and like, hey, let's look at the beautiful stuff that's going to be happening because you're going to have time to spend with loved ones. At least that's nice, you know? That's what we're trying to do with it. And like, if you look at, it's like, it reminds me of that blues era, man. They had like gnarly times in the Great Depression, for fuck's sakes, you know? Yeah. So it's like, that's like the style that inspires me right now because I feel like we've kind of like, there's a potential for us to go back into the 1920s era economy and music styles too while we're at it. And I love blues, so let's go to the 1920s, you know?
Art really reflects what's troubling reality. Or what we're really dealing with, right? And obviously that's going to come to light.
Art reflects reality, reality reflects art.
100% can agree more with that statement. And
do you want to end it there? Or something close around there, man. I've really enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, let's end it there. I mean, that's a show.
Yeah, I think so.
That is a show. So, cheers to that, man.
Cheers our Watacious.
Let's drink our Watacious.
Na zdrowie.
And so, there's a couple of housekeeping things that we should discuss,
do housekeeping,
though, right?
Yeah, let's do housekeeping.
Before we let people go, this is our second episode. Things are going swimmingly. Fantastic, I would say.
Swimmingly, I say.
I say yes. So there's a few things that are going to be happening. You can find the podcast on YouTube where you can see.
Where are we?
So we're in YouTube.
Yeah.
We are in Spotify. We are on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, wherever it is, and we're in Google Play as well.
Apple Podcast. Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, like Play. iTunes and Google Play. So we're in the Googles, in the Apples.
Dang, guy. Where can they find us?
They can also find us in the YouTubes.
But what are our names?
Oh, our names.
How do they find us?
Cut to Podcast.
They're gonna be written down here.
Somewhere there. If you're listening to these on the audio platforms, don't worry about it.
They're gonna be.
There's links on the below of everything, right? So what we're gonna be doing about this podcast is we want to grow it. Obviously, we want to grow it with your help. There are several ways in which we're doing that. So we want to incorporate a little bit of interaction with the audience.
Yeah.
So we are gonna be announcing movies that we actually haven't talked about what movie we should.
Yeah, it's true. Let's actually get the raffle going. So, well, not raffle, but like basically, eventually, like we want to figure out monetization so that people like can contribute because we want to host like other artists, like people who we work with on films and stuff like that. We want to be able to support them and we want to be able to support like a bunch of stuff. But basically, like, yeah, if people, we wanted to set up a voting system, right? For the next film. So what do we have propositions for the next film?
So this is before we go into the next film, I'm gonna arrange what you just said. You said a lot of interesting.
Say it cleaner.
I'm gonna say it cleaner. I'm gonna edit draft 2.
What's the doctor of the script doctor?
The script doctor. I'm gonna script doctor what you just said.
We're going through the process.
So this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna set up a Patreon so that the audience can support the podcast.
Yeah.
Initially, the first step, we want to be able to keep the lights on the show. We need to pay hosting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And as Matt was saying, one important thing about this is that we want to feature filmmakers from around the world.
Oh yes, this is the most exciting part. Yeah.
Exactly. We wanna. If you have a short film, send it our way. We'll put it on the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll discuss it about it.
Right now, because with the virus everywhere, it's a little stuff is happening. It's like so we want to host, since there's a lot of festivals that are canceled. And for example, Kino, a movement that we love, Fano's been doing the Kino Challenge, one film every month. Basically, that's sort of in a standstill with everything that's going on, man. So we want viewers like you, if you make films and you like hearing us talking about films, hey, well, how about you send us your film, and then we're going to play it, and then we're going to react to it. So last episode we showed your film, right? Yeah. We want to start doing that with other films.
Yeah, all the feature filmmakers, and have the format would be seeing a film, like a Hollywood film or whatever film.
Feature film.
A feature film.
Yeah.
And seeing a short film of somebody that wants to show what they're working on. We want to keep this going. Because even though the world is dying in a fucking coronavirus
we've got
epidemic,
tons of good ideas.
Films ain't stopping.
The show must go on, for fuck's sakes.
So we want to hear what you guys are cooking, what you're making.
People from around the world. I mean, if it's in frickin' Russian, put some subtitles on.
Yeah, subtitles.
Send it. We're probably not going to screen every film, right?
No, we'll make
go
a
with
selection.
a selection. I think at first we'll just screen, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Depending on what we get, depending on the audience.
But we want to show your stuff.
The cool thing is, we're trying to make the show with you, with the audience, with that participation. So we'll have links to Patreon where you can support us, help us keep this going, and also...
Dude, I want to build up some funds so we can support people who send in their content too, right?
That'd be dope.
I want to get the goal is support us, but support dude, it's going to be rough times for freelancers and artists and stuff. And it's are you going to watch Netflix movies? Or are you going to watch Disney movies or whatever? They got billions. How many billions does Disney have? They have got a couple. Support support. I want to be able to show some movies from people that are artists like us. And then people can support them and because they're the ones who need that support. And there's so many goddamn people who make great movies.
Yeah, 100%.
That don't get that. So I feel there's tons of great opportunities, man, for those people and for us.
Yeah,
and
do a little bit of distribution on our end if we can.
Studio 5 Man, we're an artist collective.
We collect
artist curators. I think that's what are we curators or collective?
I mean,
I think we're a bit of both.
I mean, in this podcast, we're going to be curating films. That's the idea, right? We're going to give you a collection of feature films that we like.
Yeah.
And we are going to be showing short films of filmmakers from around the world.
And we're going to give you this sort of hopefully we're going to eventually kind of review it. It's going to be like we did. We more reacting to it. It's not reviewing. It's just we get to talk about your film, man. It makes us react and...
100%.
That's going to be cool, man. We got good ideas. We have tons of stuff we want to do.
So,
it's good.
For the next film...
Oh, yes. Let's give some
options. We're not going to be able to set up the voting system just yet. I'm thinking something indie, something low-key, a filmmaker just starting, cult thing. Let's watch Clerks.
Clerks is a great film. I haven't seen Clerks in a while. So we got Clerks. Oh, I got to propose one.
All right.
So then we're going to be doing... Oh, there's our idea.
Okay.
There you go. Each episode we can present 2 films. You present one, I present one, and we can decide.
We'll get people
to see what do I want to watch? I don't even know what's playing.
2 hours later.
Hey, here's an idea. Suggestions.
If you don't say anything, we're going to watch Clerks.
That's right. It's an ultimatum.
Yeah, exactly. So say something.
Classic ultimatum.
I'm going to submit my friends as I always do to some Kevin Smith shit.
Yeah, that's right. Let's cut.
All right, and that's our fucking podcast.
Boom. Well done, episode 2.
Episode 2.
Sick.